quick like and subscribe if you enjoy my content. My name is Ethan. I'm 36 years old, and I work as a data security analyst for a financial services company in Charlotte, North Carolina. I spend my days anticipating threats, analyzing patterns, and planning responses to potential breaches. I'm trained to stay calm under pressure, to gather information before acting, and to strike at the moment that causes maximum damage to the threat. I never thought I need to apply those same principles to my own marriage. But when you discover your wife is having an affair, and she has no idea you have a choice. You can confront immediately and let emotion drive the conversation, or you can wait, gather evidence, and choose the perfect moment to detonate the truth. I chose to wait for 3 months, and when my wife finally asked me to give her a baby, I told her I knew about her boyfriend instead. I met Claire 8 years ago at a technology conference in downtown Charlotte. She was working in pharmaceutical sales, confident and driven in ways that impressed me. I was the quiet tech guy, more comfortable with servers than social situations. We balanced each other. We got married 6 years ago, bought a house in the Dilworth neighborhood, a renovated Craftsman with 3 bedrooms and a yard. Claire continued in pharmaceutical sales, pulling in good commissions. I advanced to senior analyst. Combined income around $210,000. We were comfortable, successful, planning our future. For 5 years, we talked about kids in abstract terms. Eventually, we'd say, when the timing is right. Claire wanted to establish her career first. I wanted to make sure we were financially stable. There was always a reason to wait. Then about 6 months ago, Claire started mentioning children more frequently. Not abstract future children. Real, immediate plans. I think I'm ready, she'd say. I'm 34. If we want kids, we should probably start trying soon. Okay, let's talk about timeline. I was thinking we could start trying after the holidays. Give me a few months to wrap up some big accounts at work, then we go for it. I was surprised but pleased. You're sure you're ready? Completely. I want this, Ethan. I want to start our family. We had that conversation in late May. Claire was suddenly focused on having a baby. She'd point out cute kids in restaurants, send me articles about pregnancy, talk about what our kids might look like. It felt like a switch had flipped. For 5 years, she'd been ambivalent about children. Now she was actively planning for them. I should have questioned the sudden change. But I wanted kids. I've been ready for a while. So I accepted her new enthusiasm at face value. Then in mid-June, I discovered why Claire was suddenly so eager to have a baby. I was working from home on a Friday. Claire had left for a sales call around 9 a.m. She'd taken her work laptop, but left her personal iPad on our kitchen counter, charging. I walked past it around 11 and noticed a notification pop up. A text message preview on the lock screen. Ryan, can't stop thinking about last night. You're incredible. Ryan. I didn't know anyone named Ryan. Claire had never mentioned a Ryan. I picked up the iPad. I knew her passcode. She'd never changed it from the one we'd set up together years ago when I'd helped her configure it. I unlocked it and opened messages. The thread with Ryan went back 4 months. Hundreds of messages. I sat down at our kitchen counter and started reading. Ryan, I know this is complicated, but I'm falling for you. Claire, I'm falling for you too. But we have to be careful. Ryan, I hate sneaking around. I want to be with you openly. Claire, I know. I do too. I just need time to figure out how to leave. Leave? She was planning to leave me. I scrolled further back. Found messages from when it started. Claire, last night was amazing. I haven't felt like that in years. Ryan, same. I know you're married, but I can't help how I feel. Claire, Ethan and we've grown apart. I've been going through the motions for a long time. I read message after message. The affair had started in February. For months of secret meetings, stolen afternoons, hotel rooms charged to credit cards I hadn't been monitoring closely enough. Ryan was 31 years old, worked in medical device sales, had met Claire at an industry conference in Atlanta. They'd connected, exchanged numbers, started texting. 2 weeks later, they'd slept together for the first time. And for the past 4 months, they'd been planning a future together while Claire came home and slept in my bed. But the messages from the past few weeks were what made my blood run cold. Ryan, I want kids someday. Do you? Claire, I do. I really do. Ryan, but you're married. Is Ethan going to want kids? Claire, actually, that might solve our problem. Ryan, what do you mean? Claire, if I get pregnant, I can tell Ethan it's his. He's been wanting kids for years. He'll be thrilled. Ryan, wait, you let him think the baby was his? Claire, just until I can leave him. It give me time to plan everything properly. And honestly, Ethan would be a stable father figure during the pregnancy. Financial security, good insurance. Then once the baby is here and I'm in a stronger position, I can leave and we could be together. Ryan, that feels wrong. Lying to him about whose kid it is. Claire, it's temporary. And think about it. We could have our baby without all the complications of me leaving first. Once there's a child involved, the divorce is easier to navigate. Courts favor mothers. I get the house, child support, everything we need. Ryan, I guess that makes sense. As long as we end up together. Claire, we will. I promise. I just need to play this smart. I sat in our kitchen, reading my wife's plan to get pregnant, potentially with her boyfriend's child, and pass it off as mine until she could leave me and take everything in the divorce. She was going to use me as a financial safety net, as insurance coverage during pregnancy, as a stable provider while she planned her exit strategy. And I was supposed to be thrilled about becoming a father while she was sleeping with someone else and plotting to leave. I took screenshots of everything, every message, every plan, every detail of the affair. Saved them to my secure cloud storage. Sent copies to my personal email. And I put the iPad back exactly where I'd found it and went back to work. But I wasn't working. I was thinking. I'm a security analyst. When I discover a breach, I don't immediately shut it down. I observe it. I document it. I understand the full scope of the threat before I act. Claire was a threat to my financial security, my emotional well-being, and potentially my legal rights if she actually got pregnant and claimed the child was mine. I needed a strategy. I called a divorce attorney that afternoon. His name was Marcus Webb, came highly recommended for complex cases. Marcus, I need advice. I discover my wife is having an affair and planning to get pregnant, possibly with her boyfriend's child, and pass it off as mine. Jesus, do you have proof? Screenshots of hundreds of text messages between her and her affair partner, including explicit discussions of her plan to get pregnant and use me for financial stability until she can leave. Send them to me. Right now. I sent everything. Marcus called me back an hour later. This is bulletproof evidence, not just of the affair, but of planned fraud. If she gets pregnant and claims it's yours, and it's actually this Ryan's, that's paternity fraud. You could be on the hook for child support for 18 years for a kid that isn't yours. What do? Don't let her get pregnant. Absolutely do not have sex with her. If she asks why, make up excuses. Work stress, whatever. Just don't risk it. She wants to start trying after the holidays. She's been talking about it constantly. How far away are the holidays? 6 months. She mentioned late November, early December. Good. That gives us time. Here's what I recommend. Don't confront her yet. Gather more evidence. Document her movements, her spending, everything. Then, when she officially asks you to start trying for a baby, when she makes it explicit, that's when you confront her. Why wait? Because right now, she's planning fraud. If she actually asks you to try for a baby while actively sleeping with someone else, her intent to deceive becomes even more clear. It strengthens your case dramatically. And strategically, confronting her at that moment, when she thinks she's about to execute her plan, causes maximum psychological impact. I thought about it for approximately 5 seconds. Let's do it. For the next 3 months, I lived a double life. To Claire, I was the devoted husband, excited about our future family. I'd smile when she talked about baby names. I'd nod when she sent me articles about pregnancy. I'd act interested when she pointed out nursery furniture. But in reality, I was documenting everything. Every late night, she claimed to be working. Every expense that seemed unusual. Every text message notification I could glimpse on her phone. I hired a private investigator. Her name was Diana Cross, former police detective turned private investigator. I need surveillance on my wife, I told her. I know she's having an affair. I need photographic evidence. Diana followed Claire for 2 weeks. Got photos of her meeting Ryan at hotels. Photos of them having lunch together. Photos of them holding hands in parking garages. Photos of Claire arriving at Ryan's apartment building in the evening and not leaving until morning. All time-stamped, all documented. I also did something more technical. I set up monitoring on our home Wi-Fi network. As a data security analyst, I had the skills and tools to capture device traffic. I could see every website Claire visited, every message she sent, every app she used, all while sitting in my home office computer. It was all legal. I owned the network. I was monitoring my own equipment. And what I found confirmed everything in those original text messages. Claire was spending hours every day communicating with Ryan, planning their future, discussing her strategy for leaving me. And still, every night, she'd come home and kiss me like everything was normal. The cognitive dissonance was stunning. She'd have dinner with me, watch TV on the couch, sleep in our bed, then wake up and text Ryan about how much she missed him. I watched this happen for 3 months, documented every instance, built a file so comprehensive that Marcus said it was one of the strongest cases he'd ever seen. "You have everything," he said. Text messages showing premeditated fraud, photos of the affair, network logs showing her communications, financial records showing she's been spending marital funds on hotel rooms. This is airtight. Good, because I'm not going to lose anything in this divorce. With this evidence, you won't. We'll file on grounds of adultery and fraud. You'll keep the house, the majority of assets, and she'll get nothing close to what she was planning. As the holidays approached, Claire's baby talk intensified. "I've been tracking my cycle," she said one evening in mid-November. "I think after Thanksgiving would be the perfect time to start trying." "You're sure you're ready?" "Completely. I've never been more sure of anything." I looked at my wife, who'd been sleeping with someone else for 7 months, who'd been planning to pass off another man's child as mine, who'd been strategizing her exit while pretending to build a future with me. "Okay," I said, "let's talk about it after Thanksgiving." Thanksgiving came and went. We spent it with Claire's family, who had no idea their daughter and sister was planning to blow up her marriage. The Saturday after Thanksgiving, Claire suggested we open a bottle of wine and talk about our future. We sat on the couch in our living room. She was excited, nervous, hopeful. So she said, "I think it's time." "Time for what?" "To start trying. For a baby." "I'm ready, Ethan. I want this." "You're absolutely sure?" "Yes. I've thought about it so much. I want to start our family. I want to have a baby with you." "With me." The lie was delivered so smoothly. I set down my wine glass. "Claire, before we do that, I need to tell you something." "What?" "I know about Ryan." The color drained from her face. "What?" "Ryan Sullivan. Age 31. Medical device sales. Works for Medtronic. You met him at a conference in Atlanta in February. You've been sleeping with him for 7 months." She opened her mouth. No sound came out. I pulled out my phone, opened the folder where I'd saved all the screenshots. "I've known since June. I found the messages on your iPad. I've been documenting everything since then." I handed her my phone. She scrolled through the screenshots. Her own words, her own messages, her plans laid out in explicit detail. "Ethan, I hired a private investigator. I have photos of you at Ryan's apartment, at hotels, having lunch together. I have timestamps matching your late work nights. I have financial records showing you spent over $3,000 on hotel rooms over the past 7 months. I can explain. I also have the messages where you discussed getting pregnant and passing the baby off as mine, where you plan to use me for financial security and health insurance during the pregnancy, then leave once you were in a stronger position, where you explicitly stated you'd claim the child was mine and take me for child support even though it might be Ryan's." She started crying. "Ethan, please. I've had an attorney for 3 months. I have evidence prepared. I have witness statements, financial documentation, everything. I've been waiting for this exact moment, for you to ask me to have a baby, so I could confront you with the knowledge of what you were actually planning." "Why?" she whispered. "Why wait 3 months?" "Because I'm a data security analyst. When I discover a threat, I don't react emotionally. I document, I analyze, and I respond to the moment of maximum strategic advantage. You asking me to have a baby while actively planning to commit paternity fraud? That's the moment." I stood up. "I'm filing for divorce Monday. You'll be served at work on Tuesday." Marcus Webb is my attorney. Have your lawyer contact him. You can't. I absolutely can. I have 7 months of documented adultery. I have your written plans to commit fraud. I have photographic evidence. I have financial records. You have nothing except a boyfriend who's about to find out what happens when the affair becomes reality. Ethan, please. Let me explain. Explain what? That you were going to get pregnant, possibly with another man's child, and trick me into believing it was mine? That you were going to use me as financial support and health insurance while planning your exit? That you were going to take me for child support for a child that might not even be mine? Which part needs explaining? She had no answer. I picked up the suitcase I'd already packed. She hadn't noticed it by the door. I'm staying at a hotel. I'll be back Tuesday with my attorney to discuss you moving out. The house is in my name. I bought it with money from my inheritance before we got married. You have no claim to it. Where am I supposed to go? Call Ryan. I'm sure he'll take you in. After all, you two were planning a future together. Here's your chance. I walked out, left Claire crying on the couch in the house that would soon be mine alone. Marcus filed papers Monday morning. Claire was served Tuesday at her office. She called me 17 times Tuesday afternoon. I didn't answer. Her attorney called Marcus on Wednesday. A woman named Patricia Morgan. My client would like to discuss reconciliation. Marcus's response was ice cold. My client has 7 months of documented evidence showing your client planned to commit paternity fraud. Text messages where she explicitly discusses getting pregnant and passing off potentially another man's child as my clients. She's lucky we're only filing for divorce and not pursuing criminal fraud charges. That's an extreme interpretation. It's her own words, in writing, time-stamped and documented. She planned to use my client as financial support and health insurance while conducting an affair, then leave him and claim child support for a child that might not be his. That's textbook fraud. Patricia tried another angle. My client is entitled to half of all marital assets. Your client is entitled to nothing. The house was purchased with Mr. Ethan's premarital inheritance and is held solely in his name. We have evidence she spent over $3,000 in marital funds on hotel rooms for her affair. We have documentation of financial misconduct. We'll be seeking a division heavily in my client's favor. The divorce moved quickly. Claire had no leverage. The evidence was overwhelming. She tried to claim the affair was only emotional until recently. Marcus presented photos from Diana showing Claire entering Ryan's apartment in March, 2 months after they'd met. She tried to claim she'd never seriously planned to commit paternity fraud. Marcus presented her own text messages discussing it in explicit detail. She tried to claim she deserved the house because she'd helped with mortgage payments. Marcus showed that the house was premarital property and she had no legal claim. We settled after 2 months of negotiation. I kept the house, fully mine, no equity split. Claire got 30% of our joint savings to account for her lesser contributions. I kept my retirement accounts. She kept hers. No alimony. No claims on future earnings. Clean break. 6 years of marriage. Ended because she'd asked me to give her a baby while planning to commit fraud. But here's the part that satisfied me most. I'd waited. For 3 months, I'd known about the affair and said nothing. I'd documented everything, built an airtight case, and chosen the exact moment to confront her. When she'd asked for a baby, the moment she thought her plan was coming together, I'd demolished it completely. She'd thought she was in control, thought she was playing me, thought I was the naive husband who'd never suspect. Instead, I'd been 3 steps ahead the entire time. I heard what happened afterward through mutual friends. Claire moved in with Ryan immediately after I kicked her out. She thought they'd finally have their chance at the relationship they'd been planning. It lasted 5 weeks. Ryan, it turned out, had liked the excitement of the affair. The secret meetings, the forbidden relationship, the thrill of stealing another man's wife. He'd been willing to discuss hypothetical futures over text messages. But the reality of Claire showing up with suitcases, needing a place to live, coming with divorce baggage and financial problems, that was less exciting. He ended it in late January. Told her he wasn't ready for the level of commitment she needed. Suggested she find her own place. Claire moved into an apartment alone. lost her job at the pharmaceutical company. Word had spread about the affair and her attempted fraud, and her professional reputation suffered. She tried to reach out to me about 8 months after the divorce finalized. A long email about mistakes and regrets, and how I'd been cruel to wait 3 months before confronting her. I forwarded it to Marcus with a note, for the record, in case she tries anything. Then I deleted it, because there was nothing cruel about what I'd done. Claire had been planning to commit fraud. She'd been strategizing how to use me, how to trap me with a child that might not be mine, how to take everything in the divorce. I'd simply been smarter. I'd gathered evidence, built a case, and confronted her at the exact moment that caused maximum damage to her plans. That's not cruelty. That's strategy. I kept the house in Dilworth, renovated the spare bedrooms into a home office and a gym, made the space entirely mine. About a year after the divorce, I met someone new at a cybersecurity conference. Her name was Amanda. She was a forensic analyst, understood evidence-based thinking, appreciated strategic planning. On our third date, she asked about my divorce. I found out my wife was having an affair and planning to get pregnant, possibly with her boyfriend's child, and pass it off as mine. So I documented everything for 3 months, then confronted her the moment she asked me to try for a baby. Amanda's eyes widened. You waited 3 months? I needed time to build an airtight case. I couldn't risk her getting pregnant during that time, so I made excuses to avoid intimacy. But I documented the affair, hired a PI, gathered financial records, everything. That's incredibly calculated. I work in data security. When you discover a breach, you don't panic. You assess the threat, gather intelligence, and respond strategically. Claire was a threat to my financial security and potentially my legal rights if she'd succeeded in her fraud. What happened when you confronted her? She cried, tried to explain. But I had 7 months of documented evidence, including her own text messages planning the fraud. She had no defense. The divorce was settled in 2 months heavily in my favor. Amanda nodded slowly. Some people would say you should have confronted her immediately. Those people don't understand strategy. Confronting immediately would have been emotional and reactive. Waiting 3 months while gathering evidence was strategic and effective. I controlled the situation completely. Do you regret waiting? Not even slightly. Claire thought she was in control. Thought she was playing me. Finding out I'd known for 3 months and had been documenting everything, that she'd never been in control at all, that was more devastating than any immediate confrontation could have been. We've been together for over a year now. Amanda has never given me reason to doubt her. She's direct, honest, exactly what she appears to be. And she understands that strategy sometimes requires patience. I knew about the affair for 3 months. Waited until she asked for a baby to tell her. And in that moment, when Claire thought her carefully laid plans were about to come together, I showed her that I'd been 3 steps ahead the entire time. Some people said I was cold. That waiting 3 months was cruel. That I should have confronted her immediately and given her a chance to explain. But those people didn't read the text messages where my wife planned to commit paternity fraud. Didn't see her strategy to use me for financial security and health insurance while sleeping with someone else. Didn't understand that she'd been planning to trap me with a child that might not be mine and take me for 18 years of child support. I wasn't cold. I was smart. I treated the situation like a data breach. Documented the threat. Analyzed the patterns. Responded at the moment of maximum strategic advantage. Claire had been planning my destruction for months. I'd just been better at planning hers. She asked me for a baby. I gave her a divorce instead. And the look on her face when she realized I'd known for 3 months, that every conversation, every plan, every moment she'd thought she was deceiving me had actually been documented. That was worth every second of waiting.